When the Barbie doll was introduced, young girls didn't have to be just mothers anymore. They can be anything they want to be. Stereotypical Barbie, Margaret Robbie, believed that they revolutionized society with their dolls. But she will soon find out that is not the case. The world is cruel, and not as she had thought it out to be. When mysterious parts of her well-being became apparent, she is told to go to the real world to seek out her player in the hopes that she can revert back to her stereotypical self. However, Ken, Ryan Gosling, tagged along and learned about the patriarchy, bringing it back to Barbieland and creating madness for the Barbies and the world. I will go out and say that I understood what Barbie was trying to accomplish, but I feel that they did not hit the mark. This movie is ridiculed with so many flaws, unexplained subplots and mechanics in regards to the world that ultimately ended up falling flat with the message. Partly due to its meta humor and inclusion of the real world, there was a lot of confusion that I couldn't follow along the story. In other words, its execution was bad. Although my take may be an unpopular one, given the amount of success and cheer this movie had, I will give my opinion. First and foremost, world building and plot. I could not follow the world nor the magic system because it made absolutely no sense whatsoever, nor did it try to explain them. It is filled with so many flaws and plot holes that I couldn't understand the characters' actions or their plight because of the world they live in and its rules and limitations.
Okay.
Let me explain. So there's two worlds, right? Barbieland and the real world. So which one came first? Given the opening image, I can only say the real world. It is also softly confirmed when Ruth, Rhea Perlman, tells us that she created the Barbie doll with no ending, meaning Barbieland did not exist until she made it exist. But how was this action made? How are there real-life Barbies? It is said that Barbie must go to the real world to find her player, as she was not playing with her, right? But wouldn't there be so many girls playing with the same Barbie and therefore create so many problems? Or wouldn't more Barbies need to go to the real world for the same reason?
Best if you don't think about it too much.
How does Mattel exist to create Barbies and Barbies just happen to exist at the same time? Did they make dolls based on Barbieland that they found and used them to make a profit? It would make sense why they're so scared of Barbie entering the real world. However, that would debunk what I mentioned prior about how Barbieland was created. How does the box prevent Barbie from coming back to the real world if the portal was opened because of the player and not anything related to Mattel?
Don't overthink it. Oh.
How would, in the end, when Gloria America Ferrera asks for an ordinary Barbie if she doesn't exist? Will she just spawn into existence when Mattel makes her? But then that destroys the Mojo Dojo Casa House situation we saw earlier. When Ken makes the Mojo Dojo Casa House, Mattel starts selling them as if they're the ones that created it. So what comes first? What are the rules?
Best if you don't think about it too much.
It was never explained because it didn't need to, as it did not pertain to the story and its message. It was only used to advance the plot to give us the message. Believe it or not, Barbie is a feminist movie. While that doesn't necessarily make it bad, and even though it does offer different insights and other social ideas and concepts, there were so many ideas and messages that it became convoluted, not really grasping any of it, that in the end it ended up feeling like just another feminist product. So Barbieland is a counter-image to Earth in terms of the patriarchy and how things are governed. In this exaggerated story, it allows the audience to see just how bizarre the concept is, telling us that neither way is adequate. In both ways of living, there's always someone who is hurt by society, and the solution is a society where both can rule together. There's also the message of capitalism and consumerism with Mattel's somewhat cynical marketing ploys and tactics. But this goes nowhere within the story. It adds nothing but little stakes to Barbie. There's also the message of the creator and the idea, which I didn't really understand, especially with the ending. All of these messages get smushed together with one common thing present throughout the movie. Feminism is the reason why many claim it just to be another feminist product, only showing men as dumb, good-for-nothings who cannot amount to anything. Even if the movie wasn't going for that, it felt that way because of the dialogue, action, and its story. Not to mention the meta humor added that wasn't even funny. The movie is a comedy, but most of it, if not all, the jokes didn't land properly. Due to this, when a joke was made in relation to the message, I couldn't tell if it was supposed to be comedic or used as a Trojan horse to prove a point and let the audience take in the message, or not.
I'm a man with no power. Does that make me a woman?
But credit where credit is due. Production was phenomenal. The set design was really good, that it really appeared as if the dolls were actually living. The props and lighting made Barbieland truly seem like, well, Barbieland. Some stylistic choices were done well, like the differentiations between lighting and camera angles between Barbieland and the real world, not to mention Ryan Gosling, but that's a different story. Overall, Barbie seemed like just another feminist ploy that depicts the same message: men dumb, women smart. And even though it might not fully be the case in Barbie, because of its recurring mentions between the seemingly multitude of messages scattered throughout the movie, the way it was presented did not benefit it. A lot of the magic systems, world building, and even character motivations did not make any sense whatsoever. That not only could you not properly follow the protagonist along, but the actions did not really make any sense, evident when Barbie enters the real world. A lot of Ken's potential was wasted, which was part of the message, but also ruined part of the comedic charm the movie was trying to go for. So ultimately, the movie felt flat because it decided to make a story for the message and Mattel instead of a movie with a message.